John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on July the 22nd in the year of our Lord 2026, and I've got some great information for you today. Let me jump over here to my Rumble channel, Murtech on Rumble. And before we get into tonight's episode 1986, I want to point out that I dropped a special extra today. Okay. This is from Truth Seeker Patriot, and this is a documentary about Dr. Royal Raymond Rife. And looks like we've had about 384 people watch that. Now, if you haven't watched this, this would be some good information for you to take in. This guy was born in the 1800s, 1890 something, I believe, and he developed using light and sound frequencies a way to kill cancer cells in a person's body. And this was in the 1920s, 1930s, so this was like 90, 100 years ago. Okay, well, the situation was that there were 17 people rather, that their doctors had diagnosed them with cancer. Some of them with terminal cancer. He gave them this treatment with his beam ray machine, is what he called it. And these 17 people went back to their doctors, and the doctors said their cancer was gone. So it wasn't him that said this, it was their own doctors. Well, some of the medical community thought that was great, but the AMA, American Medical Association, didn't think that was so great. So they started defaming him, and his laboratory got burnt down mysteriously with all his documents in it, all his information in it, his records, and of his trials that he used the beam ray machine on, and eventually it just faded away. But this documentary is old. I found it on YouTube, but I've known about this guy for probably about 15, 20 years. I invite you to go ahead and watch this if you get a chance, because it's got some great information. And, just another example about how whoever is trying to control the planet, doesn't want us to be healthy, doesn't want us to be cured of anything. They just want us to die so they can have the planet to themselves, I guess. But at any rate, great information. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. And let me go ahead and there we go. Let me pause this. And look at everybody in the chat. Susie Pole, Viper Senior, Glow is in there. Great. I'll get back with you in just a moment, folks. But let me jump down here and click the Show More button to expand out the description box. We have information from Dan Bongino, Rubin Report, Dave Rubin, Steve Gruber Show, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I've got a ton of shout-outs to give here. LibX Chickhan just started following my channel. Cat352 just started following my channel. Paul, I believe that's B52, just started following my channel. Kobe also just started following my channel. Latte1234 just started following my channel. Ad Gardner 55 just started following my channel. Lane Judy just started following my channel. M. Sumstead just started following my channel. Mormon70 Me just started following my channel. And Minami 66 just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content. Okay, Ad Gardner 55 commented on my episode 1981. Debbie BS Cottonball 31 commented on my episode 1985. Poison Pawn and Viper Senior commented on my episode 1985. Harold George 1234 commented on my extra 765A. Harold George 1234 commented on my extra 765B, and Harold George 1234 commented on my extra 766C. Debbie BS commented on my extra 768A. Cottonball 31 and Debbie BS commented on my extra 768B. And Debbie BS commented on my extra 768C. So thank you very much, folks, for reposting my videos and for your comments. I greatly appreciate that. And I certainly enjoy reading your comments and feedback. All right, let me give that a thumbs up. Viper Senior has given me a comment. Good evening, fellow patriots. Where we go one, we go all. Rumble 4 tonight. Good job. Also, Glow, good evening, all. And also shared on Facebook and X. Thank you very much, Glow, GP Wilco 01. I definitely appreciate that. So, given all the thumbs up now, let's get into this, okay? Dan Bongino, I thought this never happened. Episode 2558. Let's see what he thought never happened, okay?
Folks, and in the interest of candor and honesty, they tell you to never bring this up, but I always, because I want to just always show you guys I'm just one of you. I have no special powers, make mistakes. My brain this morning was cooked. I was convinced at the end of our interview that it was, in fact, was it Thursday? Today is not Thursday. And not only was I was absolutely convinced it was Thursday. I had to have Justin like show me. I was like, and my geography was all over the map. Wyoming, Wisconsin. No, we should not put the bloopers back in the interview. We should not. But maybe one day I'll show you what my brain was all over. But I promise you, I'm good now. Some blackout coffee has solved that. But again, I don't want you to think like this is a business free of errors. We screw up stuff like anything else. So let me just get right to this one. Little bit of a mild language alert here, folks, if your kids are listening. Scumbag Mamdani just gave up the whole game yesterday. Scumbag. Mamdani is a piece of human garbage. This guy is an anti-American Islamo-Nazi and is a threat to everything America stands for. He is a lying sack of garbage. He is a total, complete life loser who is just, he lies through his teeth to people because he's an Islamo fanatic. That's what he is. He had insisted on the campaign trail running for mayor of New York. He had insisted we're going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu because he appeals to weak-minded people who hear Netanyahu in Israel and logic goes out the window. You're going to arrest a foreign head of state at the UN? Really? We're going to arrest all of the tyrants that we allow into the country to talk at the UN? Like, did you ever thought? And I'm not even suggesting Netanyahu's a tyrant. I'm just telling you, you know how many shitheads we let into the country to talk and negotiate at the UN? You know how many UNs I worked? I should have brought my pins. I got pins in my office from every Secret Service UN I worked. I got a whole boatload of pins sitting in this little case here. It was asinine. Why am I bringing this up now? Because, ladies and gentlemen, stupid is a choice. Only idiots believe this moron that he was going to arrest Netanyahu when he popped into New York for only idiots believe that. They chose to believe it. The problem with imbeciles and idiots believing stupid stuff is when the stupid stuff becomes like a red line issue of passion for your voters. Like now they want to see handcuffs on this guy. Now Mamdani's forced to admit he's a scumbag liar, which is all he is. He's a piece of shit, and he always has been. He's a showman. He's a carnival barker. Here's a Mamdani video, and how many times have I been telling you about the unholy alliance? The commies, libs, same thing, and the Islamo nuts. I told you they're all saying the same thing. We need the International Criminal Court. We need them to start arresting people like Donald Trump and Netanyahu and elsewhere. Here's Mamdani admitting it. He says, basically acknowledges he can't arrest Netanyahu. He was lying to you. He's basically saying I'm a liar. I'm a lying scumbag, because he is. But notice how he says, I really support this International Criminal Court. Really? You don't support U.S. courts? You support Pakistan arresting U.S. soldiers overseas in a Star Chamber ICC court? Notice how he says anyone else in this clip. You think this is an accident? He's reading a pre-prepared speech. It's not. Pay very close attention to this. Check this out.
There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large.
Notice he mentions it twice because I was a little foggy this morning. Justin had to correct me. Yes, I cut the video too early. And he's like, no, Dan, he doesn't only mention Netanyahu and anyone else. He's talking about Trump, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, me, Cash, Todd Blanche. He wants an extraterritorial, phony, fake Star Chamber court, a bullshit court that the United States does not recognize on a part, to start arresting U.S. citizens outside of U.S. law for political crimes. That's why he said anyone else. And you notice he repeats it at the end. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York. You don't know who's welcome anywhere, you piece of shit. And then he's like, and anyone else who's a war criminal. Who do you think he's talking about? Folks, my point here is there are two types of leftist scumbags in the unholy alliance of communists and Islamo-fanatics. There are smart people. I don't mean that as a compliment. Smart people like Mamdani and Elizabeth Warren who know what they're doing and are lying to you and know it. And then there are SIACs, these stupid people who have made the choice to be stupid and believe this bullshit that Mamdani could have arrested Netanyahu. All you had to do was put it in AI. Can a foreign diplomat be arrested by the New York City Police Department on an ICC warrant? It would have said no. That's all you had to do. But you chose stupid, you freaking moron. And this guy's laughing at you. Mamdani, the scumbag, is laughing in your face that you believed him. He's laughing at you. Gosh, I grew up in New York, and I still have family in New York, a lot of them, like most of my family. New York has a lot of good people. But folks, it's got a lot of bad people too. How are you falling for this bullshit? This carnival barker, this freaking Times Square Folex salesman selling Folkley glasses and hey, look, opening up the jacket. How are you falling for this bullshit? He is a politician in the United States. New York City's in the United States, last time I checked. For a court that we are taken, and other members of other foreign dig, and you're falling for this, you understand you could be next, right? Here, put up that Wall Street Journal article again for like the 1,000th time. Why do you think Secretary of State Rubio is going balls to the wall now on taking on the International Criminal Court? Quote, the ICC's allies signal they intend to target President Trump once his term ends. It's right there. They're not even hiding it. You think you couldn't be next? You want to subjugate U.S. citizens to a bullshit Star Chamber court so that any U.S. citizen, any politician doesn't like, when they travel anywhere overseas, some bullshit court can issue an arrest warrant and just pick you off and throw you in jail on a felonious mopery in the umpteenth degree? Is that a real charge, Dan? No, that's the point. I cannot believe so many morons are I really can't. Even the stupid left, I don't think they understand the hellscape they're creating when the Kraplakistan court judges start indicting U.S. soldiers for every single, in-theater kinetic action they take. Holy shit. And then all you got to do is remember, all you got to do is mention Israel or Netanyahu. And everybody's like, I'm on board. I'm on board. Yeah, but this could mean your arrest too. I don't care. I just hate Israel. Are you that crazy? Can you not think straight? You're free to hate Israel all you want. You realize you're being suckered here. And that's the entry point to your stupid brain. I have to show you this to kind of like lighten this up just a little bit because it's such a serious topic. But if you think I'm kidding, that there are two specific cabals of people who are manipulating you to do things that will destroy the United States. You've got really stupid people, the SIACs, who've made the choice, and then you've got manipulators who are like Mamdani, who's not stupid, and is lying. He knew he couldn't arrest Netanyahu. He just knows if he says Israel, Netanyahu, the Jews, a bunch of suckers will be like, this is great. Here's Jasmine Crockett, who is definitely this lady is a lieutenant in the SIAC Army. That's true. That's a good point. Jasmine Crockett may be so stupid, she didn't even make the choice. The choice was made for her. Jasmine Crockett said one of the dumbest things. In case you don't know her, she is a communist congresswoman. She recently ran for Senate. She got smoked. This is one of the dumbest people ever elected to Congress. And my gosh, that's saying a lot. I'm not sure in an IQ test she cracks 85. She's up on Capitol Hill yesterday. Lieutenant of the SIACs right here. Says one of the dumbest things you've ever seen about the World Cup, Spain versus Argentina. If this makes sense to you, please tune out of my show immediately. I don't want you dumbing down the collective IQ of my audience. Check this out.
World Cup that captured the imaginations of the entire world when they saw all of these people of color that was playing for all these teams. And ultimately, if you recall, the last two teams, it was Argentina and Spain. And it seemed like the vast majority of the world was rooting for Argentina, or actually against Argentina, right? And why was that? Just give me an explanation if you could guess, if you'll just let them finish the answer.
Okay. Spain had the best team. Maybe that's why they were rooting for them.
There's also a racist history that.
Someone in the chat just said she's a 2-star general in the SIAC Army. Folks, I can't, that's a level of stupid I can't explain. I don't even know where she was going with that. A largely Spanish-speaking country, Argentina versus Spain, another largely Spanish-speaking country. That there's, I don't even, don't stop trying to explain it. You'll lose 5 or 6 IQ points. You need like that Prevagen or something, that brain compound like fish oil and shit. Folks, I really love it when they say the quiet part out loud. Jasmine Crockett should have opened that up by just explaining that she's a very low IQ individual who has process problems with inputs and creating an output that makes logical and reasonable sense to any normal thinking human being. But some of these people are more clever. I applaud Senator Cotton for bringing this up this morning. Folks, the biggest national security threat to America right now, the United States of America, is the unholy alliance of lib commies and Islamo fanatics. It's right in front of your face. I want you to watch this right now. Army. She All right, you guys know I'm a child of the 80s. And in the 1980s, if you said the name Richard Gere, people would think of two things. They would think of Pretty Woman, the movie Pretty Woman, of course, with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. Wonderful, wonderful movie. And they would also think about the what we were told was a rumor, but it seemed pretty substantiated, that Richard Gere stuck a gerbil in his butt. And that's a picture of a gerbil. During that commercial break, I asked the guys real quick. I was like, guys, get me a picture of a Pretty Woman poster and a gerbil. Connor's like, I've got the gerbil already. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, apparently it's just a rumor that he stuck a gerbil up his butt. And I can't even imagine what possibly could have even, doesn't matter. Let's leave that for a second. Richard Gere's back in the news. It's not just Pretty Woman. It's not just the gerbil in the butt. He also doesn't like Donald Trump. You know, it's the trifecta, man. He doesn't like Donald Trump, and he really doesn't like that Donald Trump canceled USAID. Take a look.
USAID was probably the most pure thing that America did up to that moment. It was a giveaway program to needy people, whether it was health, it was education, it was women's issues, it was all kinds of stuff. Big things, small things, and what they did with HIV/AIDS, saved tens of millions of lives, continuing. He stopped that day one, and it was insane. Well, what do you do if you're the wealthiest, most powerful? You help people. You help people who don't have health care.
Okay, Richard Gere. It would have been funny if a gerbil had just like scooted out through the back of the thing there. First off, it was just a giveaway program. It was just a giveaway. Well, no, it's not a giveaway program. You take money from us, the American people, and then yes, the government was giving it away to all sorts of organizations doing crazy things, and it involved money laundering, and there was no accounting of anything. And we know through Doge that there was all sorts of stealing of money and everything else. But it's just a giveaway program, right? You never want to think, where did the money come in the first place? Also, Richard Gere, you are worth $120 million. I'm going to guess that you do donate. He strikes me as the type of Democrat, not like most of them, who just, don't never put any skin in the game. I'm going to guess you've donated some money, but like, you're worth 120 mil. Like, it's what I always say to Ro Khanna. You're worth 240 mil. Throw a 40 and you still got 200. So I would say to Gere, throw in another 20. You still got 100. You're going to be okay. I don't know, how many gerbils can you get for $100 million? Go to gerbilcalculator.com and figure that out. You want to know what USAID was doing? Well, here's a couple things that they were doing. We gave $10,000 for French. Can't believe this. We gave $10,000 for French pastry classes for Iraqi women. We gave $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq. We gave $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, and $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru, which, as you guys know, was Connor's favorite. Connor, you're really taking it on the chin today. You get extra guacamole. It's okay. Yes, and did it potentially do anything decent anywhere? Possibly. It doesn't mean we have to do it in perpetuity forever without any accounting or anything else. I thought this was interesting. There's a random X post that Elon responded to because, this is what everyone keeps saying. Elon through Doge cut USAID and millions of people are dying. So did Elon Musk kill millions of people by cutting USAID? We now have preliminary 2025 mortality data from several African countries, and the answer may shock you. No, there is no detectable morality signal at all. And you can look at the chart right there. And then, of course, Elon responded to it and said, deaths in Africa, and again, look at the chart, deaths in Africa decreased after USAID funding was cut because they're no longer able to push for violent revolution to install leftist regimes. Okay, so interestingly, and now here's when you see why are they so obsessed with USAID? Is it really because of that tranny Peruvian comic book, as great as it might be? Probably not. Could it be that what they're doing on the ground in many of these countries is installing leftist leaders and using NGOs to manipulate elections and a whole bunch more? Well, this is quite interesting from End to Wokeness on X. 7 Latin American elections since USAID was defunded. Chile went to far right. Bolivia, far right. These are quotes, far right. Peru, far right. Ecuador, far right. Honduras, far right. Colombia, far right. Costa Rica, far right. These were all lefty countries. Suddenly, we cut USAID,
We're dumping tons of money into programs there, and suddenly they all become, and again, it's quote far right. There's some, it's like you can all decide what far right even means. I thought this was quite interesting from Martin De Luca. He's an attorney. He wrote, Latin America is moving right. This October, Brazil will hold its first presidential election since USAID was shut down. Many people have asked if this is why Brazil's censorship apparatus is becoming so aggressive. Free elections require citizens to be allowed to hear, speak, organize, criticize, and decide without judges deciding which opinions may exist. So it would be rather interesting if now Brazil also, which had Bolsonaro, then they've got this crazy commie, what's his name? It doesn't even matter. What's the guy that they, after Bolsonaro, the guy who came in who's the lefty? Lulu. Well, we will see what happens there. Let's get back to our shores for a second and just a little bit on the money side of things. This was actually kind of fascinating, and here's a nice little white pill for you. From VoteHub, National Committee Finance Update. The RNC, cash on hand, has $124 million with zero debt. The DNC, by contrast, I can't believe this, has only $14.4 million and 17 and a half in debt. So they have more debt than dollars, and the Republicans have about 10x the amount of money than the Democrats do right now. That is rather fascinating, and we will see. Libs of TikTok saw that and wrote this. Trump shuts down USAID, and suddenly the Democrat Party is broke. Like, was there a massive money laundering operation going on? I think we are seeing that the answer is yes.
All righty, there you go. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, folks. I thought I clicked the unmute button, but I guess either I didn't or it didn't connect there between that last break. But it's amazing, isn't it? And the strange thing about these Latin American countries that are going far right. So USAID were, I don't know, I guess supporting leftist leadership. Well, I've seen reports and heard information that these Latin American countries were just going broke, in chaos. I guess that's what the left wants. They talk, how wonderful they want everything to be. And, Orange Man bad, that's pretty much their platform. But then when they actually get the opportunity to do something, they, defund the police, allow criminals out on the street, no cash bail and all that. It's unbelievable. And what I was saying about Dan Bongino, he was giving example after example how these Democrats are just lunatics, bizarro world. They live in an upside down world. One thing that, I did mention is, Dan Bongino and Wendy Bell, they get a lot of viewership. He had about almost 500,000 views on that video that I shared with you, and like 9,000 thumbs up. But I wish they didn't talk about Mandani so much to give him that publicity, okay? Because there's some idiot that's going to hear that and think, oh yeah, he's right, he knows what he's doing. Mandani, yeah, he's my man. Don't give him the publicity. Just talk about how New York is just being destroyed. How the people that have money and provide jobs for other people are leaving. It's unbelievable. Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from the Rubin report. This is the video I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here. And let's slide down here. I'm looking at the chats here. Yep, some good information. Okay, let's see what Steve Gruber has to say. Trump's energy policies are paying off. Yeah, gas is back up again. It's $3.59 a gallon here. I filled up here in Indianapolis today. It's $3.59 a gallon. I go to Speedway gas station, and I have a Speedway membership card, whatever that is. And when I use that, I got a nickel off. So actually I paid $3.54.9 for gas today. But, this, of course, we're dealing with a bunch of lying lunatics, radicals, terrorists in Iran. So, what can you expect? I'll be glad when that is, they're going to have to kill all the leadership and put new leadership in, people that actually, are not trying to destroy everyone else around them. But at any rate, Steve Gruber, Trump's energy policies are paying off with Larry Behrens. Behrens. What? Yeah, this guy here. Okay.
That's the bad news. The good news is our surplus of natural gas continues to expand, which is good news when you're looking at it. Look, it might be July, but it won't be that long before the weather turns cold and fall comes. And natural gas is what keeps this country warm and powered. And it's good news because we have more than anybody else. Larry Behrens is energy expert, spokesman for energy advocacy group Power the Future. Larry, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm well. It's funny to sit here. Last week in D.C., it was 100 degrees. And so talking about winter seems a little bit early. But the fact of the matter is, talking about natural gas and American energy is always a good idea because, look, we're doing better now every day. More oil, more natural gas, more opportunities to control our own energy future. And that's really important, Larry, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And yeah, natural gas heats about 50 million or more American homes in the winter. And it doesn't just jump out of the ground and head to your furnace instantly when you need it the first night in December when you turn on that furnace. But another important aspect of it, and something that we're feeling right now, it's also the leading electricity producer in places along the East Coast. And yes, even in New York. And so what is also keeping your air conditioning going is natural gas. So the fact is, when we see massive heat spikes like we've seen the last couple of weeks, it is summer, we use a lot of natural gas, but we're also storing more. We're about 5% ahead of what is the 5-year average. And so we're storing more at this point than we usually do. We're exporting more than we ever have before. And there is a chance that natural gas could actually be a little cheaper coming up in this winter.
Wouldn't that be something? Because right now, I'm just looking at the numbers here. As of the 3rd of July, a couple weeks ago, we had 185 billion cubic feet, a surplus of 6.6%. We're above the 5-year average by 185 billion cubic feet. The forecast is that it's going to grow. We're producing a new record, over 111 billion cubic feet per day, up from 107 billion cubic feet a year ago. All the numbers are good. Plus, we have the ability to export natural gas to places like Europe, so they're not beholden to Russian gas, which can be volatile, to say the least, right?
Absolutely. It's one of those things that I just cringe whenever I see someone from the European Union try to talk down to the United States when it comes to energy. They spend more money last year on Vladimir Putin's energy than they did in aid to Ukraine. So when they say to the United States, you should be doing more, it's like, well, how about you guys just stop giving Vladimir Putin billions of euros a year? Let's start with that, and they can buy our natural gas. Thankfully, that is starting to shift, and they are buying more and more of ours. We are, I think, 26% of the entire liquefied natural gas export market in the world, by far the biggest leader. And a lot of that is heading to Europe so that they can also stay warm this winter. But we have to go back.
Let me ask you about something else here, Larry, because during the Biden administration, pipelines were being shut down. The Northeast has a ban on pipelines in some areas. Boy, is that costing the consumers there a ton. Is there a more pipeline-friendly environment right now to get some of these projects pushed forward? Because, look, it is safer to move energy by pipeline than it is by highway. I mean, that's just the simple math. Safer to move it by pipeline than it is by tanker trucks. So is there a more friendly environment right now? Are we making some progress?
We are. The hard part of that is, you're absolutely right. There's no more friendly regulatory environment right now. Washington understands that not only do we need to drill, but we need to transport and move the energy around the country. That's part of the reason we see a difference in gas prices. Taxes is the other. But in order to get that done, we're talking, these are not projects that can be done in just one president's term. And so, as we saw with Keystone XL, you can spend decades trying to build it, getting all the permitting reform and everything, and then one unfriendly president comes in and pulls the rug out from under you. So they need some stability in that area that is longer sometimes than a presidential term. But you're absolutely right. Right now is the time. If they can get it done while President Trump is still in office, they are moving to get it done.
Yeah. Obviously, it takes. They're long projects. I think the permitting processes for a lot of things in government are far too long. You would agree with me on that. And the Trump administration trying to curb them back. But of course, every step of the way, those on the left, those that are anti-energy, which is a lot of the people on the left, they take the game to courtrooms. And that's what slows everything down. Litigation creates problems, and litigation creates expense. And litigation means that some companies just don't invest in the infrastructure because they're like, well, if we do that, we're going to end up in court and it's going to cost us all this money. So that is also a problem, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And it didn't used to be that way, right? If you look at the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, which brings oil from Alaska down to the United States, I believe that was built in less than a year, maybe a matter of even 6 months. And that was in the quick post-World War II area when we decided, you know what, we're going to let common sense rule. And that is infrastructure that we're still benefiting from today. You try to do the same thing today, try to give, even a tenth of the distance of the Alaska Pipeline today. You're going to be met with lawsuits. You're going to be met with, state governors who could be unfriendly, depending on where it is. There's a whole lot of obstacles, and it doesn't need to be done because it just gets in the way of common sense, drives up prices, and makes us less secure.
I've been there, by the way. I've been to the pipeline north of Fairbanks. Been operating since 1973. It really is a work of art. They fly it twice a day, every day with helicopters. They've never, folks, had a leak on the Alaskan pipeline since 1973. It's an important thing to know. I've stood there. It's clean, it's well-maintained, and it's in pristine condition after all these years. Larry, good to see you here today. Really appreciate you talking to us. Natural gas powering our future for many years to come. Thank you.
Stay cool, stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm, stay cool, stay with natural gas. And look, no, he's not a paid sponsor. He's just here. Natural gas is an American thing. And I think it's good for all of us. What is an American thing is my dog food, Great Lakes Pet Food.
All right, we're going to go ahead and skip his commercial there. Yeah, I like Steve Gruber. He puts out great stuff. He does. He puts out great stuff. He puts out like 4 videos a day. Okay, this video here, it's got 57 views. Let me go ahead and take us over here on the Rumble channel. It's got 57 views and 1 thumbs up. You know who gave him the thumbs up? I did. Okay, when I shared his information on Murtech.com, I gave him a thumbs up. I don't understand. He's got great information. Great stuff. And, that's good about the natural gas. It's bringing dollars back into the United States from Europe. And he's right about, they were paying Russia all this money gas for their natural gas. And Trump warned them about this in his first term. Said, guys, you're giving Russia. And the thing about it is these liberals, these climate freaks, natural gas is the most cleanest, most clean burning fuel there is, practically. I mean, it ranks way up there. Hydrogen is probably the cleanest because when you mix hydrogen with oxygen, and you need 3 things. You need fuel, which would be the hydrogen, oxygen, and heat to make fire. Hydrogen, oxygen, and heat is going to make fire, and the exhaust from that, the residue from that fire, is water. Talk about recycling. But at any rate, they're trying to shut down gas stoves, ranges and ovens and stoves. They're trying to shut that down. And it's the cleanest burning. What they want to go back to wood burning stoves? What the frick? Or electricity? They want everything to be electric? Well, they can't handle the power grid now. So another plan by the Democrats, the liberals, that just destroys the population. Okay, but at any rate, this is the video that I shared with you. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, jumping back here. Yeah, Debbie BS says she's driving right now, but she's chatting. So isn't chatting while you're driving? I don't know. Maybe she's got, she's talking into her phone and it's doing the chats. I don't know, but I thought chatting was pretty close to texting while driving. But I'm not going to call the cops. Okay, we'll just keep that between us. All right, let's see what Wendy Bell has to say in batting 1,000. Yeah, and she's talking about Donald Trump here, batting 1,000. Isn't it amazing the things that he says and the things that he has said, and eventually, after the mainstream media freak out about it and talk about what big lies he's telling, actually comes out to be true. Amazing, except for that vaccine. But we won't get into that right now. Let's go ahead and listen to what Wendy has to say. All righty. It looks like Wendy's audio isn't coming through. All right. Now, I have not done anything different between Wendy's video and the previous 3 videos. I hit the play button, click over there, share that screen. But I'm going to have to refresh Rumble.
Amen. You know, it's interesting how in life it happens right when you're in a weird spot. Something happens to you. You get some news that kind of makes you drop whatever you were obsessing over or were worried about. Sometimes the information is good. It's exciting. You can do something good with it. And other times it's disappointing. Yesterday was all good. We're going to talk about this president's track record and what he was able to pull off in Arizona, yesterday's primary there, in just a minute. But I want to thank all of you who were part of this program yesterday when we just sort of blew out our top of the 3rd hour yesterday and started sharing with you a story that just kind of fell into our lap. And it was the opportunity for Brock and me to give some money that we generate by literally selling our own brand of coffee. We don't sell it. We go through a guy, and it's great coffee. And our thing was the money that we make, it's like 10% on a bag of coffee. It's like $1.80. We want to use that money to do something for someone. However much we get in a month or two, a couple months, it was gangbusters. We had $500 we could give to a couple different people. We've been able to sponsor a softball team in our community, a high school girls softball team that really the parents didn't have the means to make it happen. And because of you, we were able to do it. And then all of a sudden, we got this opportunity with the gal who runs our merchandise. Her name is Lindsay, to give her some help. She was stressed out. She's got a cute little cat named Greta, and Greta, she loves more than anything in the world. And Greta has some serious problems with her mouth, with her teeth, and needs some serious work. It's going to be like $3,000 to fix Greta. And Lindsay was like, I'm not going to go and buy these concert tickets for my birthday because I need to save money for Greta. I know I've got to fix something on my car, but maybe if I don't drive it so much, I can push that off and I can use that money so I can pay for Greta. We just talked about it. Not even on the air with you to begin with, just in the live video stream, which is why I tell you should come and check us out. And then Brock gets an email, bing. And he looks across his computer through the glass at me from his producer booth yesterday. And he's like, check your email or look at your text or what have you. And some woman named Megan heard about Lindsay's cat Greta and called the vet, who's our friend, Dr. Mike Hutchinson, our friend who does the Saturday podcast with Brock. And she called and she said, I want to give $1,000 to Lindsay's cat Greta. And they were like, what? And we came back on the air and I was just flabbergasted. I'm not, but I am. Because sometimes you just need proof that it is all okay and that the reality of what we are and who we are to one another is so different than so much of the junk we have to talk about. Because the junk is important, but God, does it just crush your soul sometimes. And yesterday I was so upset with the headlines we had to talk about. All of the fraud and all of the people behaving poorly and this whole fuss over something that's so freaking simple. Voter identification. This is not complicated, but it is complicated because there's so much fraud and there's so many grifts going on and so much wrongness that it's hard to feel like it's ever going to get good again. And then out of the commercial break yesterday in the third hour, I started talking about Greta. And then people started just sending money in on our Rumble page, Wendy Bell Radio. And it was $100, $100, $100, $50, $100, $50. You guys, it was $1,100 just in those dollar amounts. $10, $20, $1,100 plus Megan's 1,000. And then whatever we have from our coffee sales, we're going to throw into that. You guys, and we were able to call Lindsay yesterday. And Brock conferenced me in and say, hey, tell us about your cat. And she told me. And Brock said, well, hey, we have probably $500 to throw in for your cat through our coffee sales. And she was absolutely speechless. She started to cry. Oh my God, what? You're going to help me? And then Brock said, well, yeah, but that's not really why we're calling. Wendy? And I was like, hey, we talked about you on our show today. And people are fantastic. And we probably raised a couple $1,000s. And she was like, and the line was silent. And all you could hear was her crying. I lost it. I was like, I don't want to make you cry, but I want you to be able to go fix your freaking car. And happy birthday. Go buy your whatever tickets to the concert that you want. We'll take care of Greta. How about we just kind of do that together? Can we do that together? And she was like, I don't know what to say. It's not a dollar amount. Because money is relative. Wealth is relative. Somebody who doesn't have a lot, who gets a little bit, feels like the richest, most special, lucky person in the world. And some of the people I know who are the most miserable are swimming in money. And it's just not able to buy them what they want, which is always so elusive, whatever it might be. And yesterday, in the matter of 2 hours, you guys took me from so disappointed, so frustrated. I was angry. I'm angry that people so commonly do the wrong thing. Or do they? Is it just amplified because that's what news is? It's always bad. People don't pay for good news. They want it. But by and large, the news is bad. You changed that for me yesterday. And you changed that for a young lady who doesn't live near her family, who's kind of here in the Pittsburgh area alone. You guys gave her a herd. It might have been the first time that young lady, Lindsay, felt like she belonged. That there were people there looking out for her. Strangers, but not really. That's powerful. More of that, please. More of the story I saw today because one of you sent it to me on Twitter, on X, about 5 boys about my son Ryan's age, 19, 20, about my younger 3 sons' ages, celebrating the 4th of July wherever they were. And as they were coming back from fireworks or what have you, they walked by a house that seemed like it had a pretty big bonfire going on in the backyard, and they investigated. No, it wasn't a bonfire. The house was on fire. And the 5 boys managed to, in that moment, break in this house, and they saved 5 people who would have died. Every now and again, you are the recipient of a guardian angel's love. To be the one, to be the conduit. You don't get paid a salary to do that. That's called joy. You bless me. You bless Brock every day. And I just wanted to start by saying, I care, we care profoundly about you. And we love this country, and we fight every day for this country. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you for setting me straight yesterday. Thank you for everything. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, all right, it went super long on that, but I want you to know Arizona yesterday, 100% Donald Trump, all of his candidates that he endorsed. Andy Biggs getting the Republican nod for governor by smashing his primary opponent by 71. What? What? Oh my gosh. Next on the Wendy Bell radio program. So thank you.
All righty, there we go. Great information. Let's see what.
He's the one. You gave.
Here we go.
Ho, 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 it's magic.
You know, that's what we're doing, guys. On a show, creating a little magic. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I want to read just a couple paragraphs before I get into Harry Enton, who stands at his wall and is really incredulous over something I'm not so sure anybody who finds himself to be a Make America Great Again conservative is surprised by. It's that Donald Trump has the backing of MAGA Republicans, that we have been unwavering, and that what he touches turns to gold. Trump-backed candidates, including ex-Giants Jets kicker Jay Feely, easily win Arizona primaries. Easily win. Ready? A full slate of Republican candidates endorsed by President Trump, including Jay Feely, former NFL kicker, emerged victorious Tuesday in Arizona's primary elections, while a Democrat Socialist House hopeful got a drubbing. Good. Feely, who played for 6 teams, 14 seasons, defeated former state lawmaker Joseph Chaplik in the Grand Canyon State's 1st congressional district. All right, it goes on. We want to get down to the bottom here where we talk about Andy Biggs, congressman from Arizona, who's represented the 5th district since 2017, opted to not seek re-election, instead run in the GOP gubernatorial primary. Oh, it paid off big time, right? I said 71. He beat him by 60 points, topped his opponent by 60 points. Complete sweep. Trump-endorsed candidates all won yesterday in Arizona. Well, wait a minute. That's not what we hear every day in the news. We hear every day that people hate this president, that nobody likes him, that his approval is in the garbage. Can you believe we've got to go through this again? And MAGA Republicans are like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but I'm pretty good with this. I voted for this 3 times, in fact, 3 times. Here's Harry Enton over at the wall, and he's like, holy moly. Trump's Midas touch. Well, I guess we could say it's got Lindsey Graham's sister sitting pretty in South Carolina, because Trump's put his money behind Darlene Graham. Here's Harry Enton.
Darlene Graham's chances have rocketed up because rarely has the power of one man and his endorsements in primaries been as strong with Donald Trump. Why don't we take a look here? Okay. Chance to win the South Carolina special Republican primary. Darlene Graham, on Friday, she stood at just a 14% chance according to the cash prediction markets. As I said, up like a rocket. Now an 80% chance as the Trump endorsement is coming. Again, the power of one man, and Graham herself saying that, in fact, she is going to run full deferred term. So we're seeing an 80% chance. Look, that's not 100%, but it is way, way higher than 14% chance. She's the clear favorite to fill that seat, at least win the primary.
That's a big change in a very short period of time. Correct. There. What's the president's record when he endorses Senate races and primaries?
Yeah, okay. So there's a reason why this 14% became 80%. And that is because when it comes to Senate primaries, Donald Trump's record is magnificent. You can see it right here. Okay. Trump endorsees won Senate primaries of non-elected incumbents. So we're not just looking at elected incumbents, right? We're looking at open seats or appointed incumbents who have never actually won the Senate seat. Look at this. Since 2022, it's about 95% of the time. This year, in fewer races, it's 100% of the time. No wonder why the prediction markets and the conventional wisdom have moved so rapidly once Trump made that endorsement, because at least in Senate races, Trump's record this year, 100%. And since 2022, nearly 100%. There has never been somebody I have seen as powerful in terms of their ability to move the electorate in primaries than the current president of the United States, Donald John Trump.
And despite all the fake news headlines beating Trump down with negative coverage, 95% of the time, Republican voters see past the fake headlines and love themselves some DJT.
One reason why is because Trump is still very popular with Republicans. Just take a look here. Okay, 21st century own party approval rating about at this point in the second term. We got Trump, we got Obama, we got Bush. Look, they're all fairly popular, but the one who is the most popular, and we have seen this time in and time out, no matter when you look, is Donald John Trump. He's the only one who's over 80%. 83% of Republicans still approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing as president. He still has that magic touch. We'll see if it carries over to South Carolina, but we've seen it in primaries this year, Senate primaries, and that's because he is still a very popular man, historically popular when it comes to his own party liking and approving of the job that he's doing.
This is interesting. What do Republicans want out of President Trump's Senate endorsements? Do they like when he brings new blood into the party? Do they like incumbents? What's the vibe?
So when you just flat out, straight up, ask Republicans, who do you want to vote for in primaries, right? Okay, who the GOP prefers in primaries? Challengers. You know, we're talking about challengers, not incumbents. Challengers that Trump endorses. Look at this. 3 in 4. 76% say they prefer to vote for challengers that Trump endorses compared to, get this, incumbents that Trump opposes, just 18%. And this is even less of a list in South Carolina because there is no elected incumbent, right? The clear majority, 3 in 4 Republicans prefer the challengers that Trump endorses. And this, of course, matches everything that we're seeing so far this year, right? We're seeing that Trump is doing so well in the primaries in terms of endorsements on the Senate side. We see his approval rating being so high. This matches with that. You rarely ever see numbers like this. The bottom line is this is still Donald John Trump's Republican Party.
They do not want incumbents if Donald Trump does not like them.
Correct. Do not oppose Donald Trump. We've seen it in primary after primary this year. Senate level, we saw it in those state legislative elections in Indiana as well, where, of course, all those incumbents went down.
I hope Thune was listening to that, because I think that cork biter is up for re-election in 28. So maybe if he's thinking about rerunning for that Senate seat, maybe he should listen to what CNN is saying. You know?
That number is big. 76% of the GOP polled in this particular instance say they prefer the challengers that President Trump endorses rather than the 18% who prefer the incumbents like John Cornyn or Thomas Massie, who he opposes. Can you imagine now if you go up to 30,000 feet and you're mainstream media and your job is to dunk on this president, to poo on everything he does as often as possible, and you cannot move that number? 83% support President Trump. 83%. Period. The most in our lifetime. Well, modern, because Reagan was up there too. You don't see that kind of what? What is it? Is it passion? Is it fire? Is it people who are freaking tired of being lied to? Whatever it is. Holy cow. The one interview that perfectly represents the schism between liberals and conservatives. It's a Lindell TV reporter and a sitting United States Congresswoman. And you've got to hear it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. It's loyalty. That was the word.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on, and this video will be in my daily news wrap-up so you can see the rest of that and it's amazing. You know, we've seen this, folks. We've seen this in primary after primary after primary. And as Wendy said, the mainstream media, all they report is everybody hates Donald Trump. He's so horrible. Yeah, okay. Just keep saying that. Just keep telling your liberal friends that, okay? Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does
The
come from
conduit.
Wendy Bell Radio. This is the video I shared with you. She's gotten 49,000 views on this and 2.4 thousand thumbs up. Great information. Great information. That's why I like to share it with you. I've given her a thumbs up, and I hope you give me one as well. I'm sure you gave her one. Viper Senior and Glow and Debbie BS, people that's watched her. Okay, jumping back here, let me remind you folks that these videos that I've shared with you are videos that come directly from the producer's channel. I've got the links to the videos here in the description box, as well as the links to the producer's channel in the description box in case you want to go check their information out. And let me copy these live chats into a comment. And folks, if you could, you're watching here. I got 27 people watching here. If you haven't given me a chat, please give me one, because as it says here, I have 63 unique chats this month out of 75. I need 75 unique chatters this month. I need 12 more. Okay, I've got 26 people watching. If you could just give me a thumbs up in the chat box, or a thumbs down in the chat box, a frowny face or a flag or whatever, a dancing Trump or a dancing banana. If you could just give me a chat, I would greatly appreciate that. If you do that and I reach my goal of 75 unique chatters, I don't know why that's so important to Rumble, but it is. They will promote this information out. More people will be able to get the truth. More people will be able to understand what is actually going on in the world, rather than having to rely on the lies and propaganda from the mainstream media and deep state swamp, okay, like John Thune, and Chuck Schumer. Okay, I think those guys are butthole buddies. They both hate Trump and hate America. Okay, neither one of them are definitely America first, make America great. They're like, let's see how much we can line our pockets with and how much we can steal from the American people. So with that being said, please give me a chat so Rumble will promote this information out. Okay, and these videos that I have shared with you are videos that I have dropped on Murtech.com. I share these on Murtech.com, where I have over 40 no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos. Here's the Wendy Bell video that I shared with you. Okay, here's the Rubin report that I shared with you earlier. Steve Gruber report that I shared with you. Dan Bongino, this is all in alphabetical order. And, the great thing about it, you can come here and click on the thumbnail, or you can click on the description and it'll take you right to the video. If you click on the producer's name, it'll take you to that producer's channel, so you can see what other information that they have here. These people don't pay me any money to do this. I'm doing this on my own to give people a place to come to, so they don't have to surf the internet for news and information. I update this site every day, multiple times a day. I don't make any money off of it. It's a free site. I don't ask you to sign up for a newsletter. I don't ask you to for your name or your email address. I don't drop cookies on your computer. I don't have a bunch of ads popping up in your face. I have zero ads. This is strictly to get no nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. This is your one-stop shop for information that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Now, I'd like to share all this information with you, but unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do so. And that's why I've put together Murtech's Daily News Wrap-Up. Now, it says we have 23 videos in here, about 10 or 11 hours worth of great information. We're going to start off with Wendy Bell, where we left off in this podcast, and same thing with Dan Bongino. Then we're going to move on to X22 Report, We the People News, LFA TV, with Sean Spicer. Uh, Also, we have information, some more information from Steve Gruber. The election files are finally public. That's interesting. Also, events from the Bongino report. Steve Day show a ton of information here, folks. But as of right now, go ahead and take a break, grab a cup of coffee and a donut or a nice glass of wine and some cheese, and meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes to get this set up in Rumble Studio, and we'll get you going. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for being here. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.